may need some nurses for the amount of verses as we bring together two universes. It's Ford versus Ferrari versus the Senate versus the CIA. I feel the need for speed.
Welcome to the Davis Locker.
Hello and welcome to episode 3 of Trailer Top Trumps with me, Chris Davis, and with me as always, the King of Crash, the Sultan of SWAT, the Count of Monte Fisto, Gazza D.
Yeah, baby.
Gazza D, what's happening?
Well, I tell you what, just a quick reminder before we crack on with this week's episode. You've only got about a week and a half to enter our competition to win a year's worth of cinema tickets. And all you have to do is
like and share the videos and subscribe to the channel. How many times have I said? It's basically nothing. I've said it loads of times now. That's all you got to do. We'd love to give it to you. So please go and do it. Do it now. It's so easy to do. So yeah, just like and share the videos that we're putting out and subscribe to the YouTube channel. That is it.
Simple as that. I mean, I do need to pull you up because you said on the first video, literally nothing. I said, what do you need to do? You said literally nothing. I think some people are taking that to heart.
I think they might have
You
done.
do have to subscribe.
Yeah. And remember as well, keep going back and looking at the prelude and getting those guesses in for all the references and Easter eggs that we put in there, because you can win some sweet TDL merch.
Yeah.
He's not wearing any today.
I'm not
pointed at you, but
Smokey and the Bandit today, but something like that on a t-shirt or
whatever rubbish we got lying around. Yeah. Got an old hoverboard here if anyone wants it.
We don't
Up to you, but like you say, keep doing it. Keep showing us the love. We are loving it. So thank you very much for all the support so far. So Gaz, this week's show.
Oh, I tell you what, we've got a fantastic matchup this week. What we do recommend is go and have a look at the trailers beforehand so you know exactly what we're talking about. We've put the links in the descriptions below. And really, as ever, what we want to do for you is give a recommendation of what to see at the cinemas this weekend. However, these opinions are based solely on the trailers.
Yeah, we do not look at the full film. We just concentrate solely on the trailers. We'll both look at one each, and then we'll rank them on our 6-category critique system. Each category is given a score out of 10, 0 being a complete load of twaddle, don't bother, 10 being that's the one you're going to watch this week. But the final ranking is left completely to chance. Using our special balls, we'll take 3 categories at random, and only those scores will be added up for the final ranking, with the winner taking its place on the Trailer Top Trumps table of triumph.
It will indeed. Right, let's find out if this week's trailers are trailer trash or trailer flash. It's time for Trailer Top Trumps.
So the first category we're going to take a look at is plot and director. Now, high scoring films in this category will have an interesting plot, elements of originality, and a really cool director who's maybe got, I don't know, an extensive filmography, loads of awards, etc, etc, etc. You get the gist. So Gazza D, what we got?
So I'm looking at The Report. And the plot is based around an idealistic US Senate staffer who is tasked with investigating the CIA and their use of torture after the events of 9/11. Based on real events, and it actually spans over a decade of political intrigue. Rum VT.
After 9/11, everyone was scared.
Possible hijacked plane.
Scared it might happen again.
Obvious terrorist attack.
It was my second day of grad school. Next day, I changed all my classes to national security.
Morning, Dan.
Morning, Senator.
Have you seen the story today in the New York Times?
Evidently, the CIA destroyed tapes of interrogations of Al-Qaeda detainees.
I want to find out what was on the tapes, why they were destroyed.
No paper.
Paper is a way of getting people in trouble at our place.
At our place, paper's how we keep track of laws. Last night I found this. He's detainee number 24. Have you guys used this thing before?
No, we watched your video.
They waterboarded him 183 times. Everything they got from him was either a lie or something they already had.
If it works, why do you need to do it 183 times?
Maybe when the report comes out, people will finally see that.
I vehemently disagree with the narrative here.
The United States does not torture.
Dan, you need to be careful here.
They can't destroy the documents. They can go after the next best thing. You.
They claim they saved lives, but what they really did was make it impossible to prosecute a mass murderer, because if what we did to him ever came out in a court of law, the case is over. The guy planned 9/11.
We will not allow this to be covered
The
up.
intent is to gain intel, save American lives.
History is written by the victors.
We need to change our approach.
How is that even ethical?
Nothing could be further from the truth.
Democracy is messy.
If the Times had your report,
We would print it tomorrow.
No. If it's going to come out, it's going to come out the right way.
Yeah, so I think with it being based on real life events, as we've said, this is quite an interesting story, quite relevant, quite recent.
Yeah.
So I think if you've been following that, I know it is US politics, but still very, very interesting to see what these guys have uncovered. So the director on this is a chap called Scott Z. Burns, who I think he's quite new to the directing chair. He's done a feature called A View From Here, which I'm not familiar with.
We've not seen everything.
No.
You know.
But he has done a lot of writing, which he's probably best known for. So he's done The Informant, he's done Contagion, he's done Bourne Ultimatum. So there's quite a lot of crossover from what you've done. Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, apparently.
You're look-alike.
I don't think he'd be too happy with that, but, you know.
Yeah,
nevertheless.
so it's one where on the trailer, the director, interestingly enough, is not named. However, the producer, Steven Soderbergh, is, which I find quite a fascinating filmmaker. I know he's a little bit chalk and cheese. Some people don't like his style, but some of the things he's done, he's obviously won an Oscar for Traffic.
Yeah.
And he's done, more recently, Unsane, which was filmed completely on an iPhone.
Yeah,
which
crazy
is kind of,
guy, isn't he?
Yeah, pushing the boundaries, really.
Did he do Solaris as well? I know you're a big fan of Solaris.
I do. There's a lot of stuff that I like of Soderbergh's.
Yeah.
He's known probably most for the Ocean's films.
Yeah.
But I
Again,
really
Matt
do like
Damon.
his film. Yeah, exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Buddies, they must be. So, yeah, I mean, we've had a lot of political dramas recently, like The Post, Ides of March, Front Runner.
That was about bootlegging rum back in the 30s. Front Runner.
It's a good one. Watch it. So yeah, if you're into this thing, and we certainly are, you can't beat a good drama. It's one I'm certainly looking forward to. And in terms of a score, I've gone for a 7.
7, solid score.
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Good.
My trailer this week has actually got 2 names.
Oh, really?
In America, it's known as Ford versus Ferrari, and in the UK and Europe, it's known as Le Mans 66.
Nice.
Would you like to know a bit more?
Yeah.
Would you like to know more? Starship Troopers.
Is Christophe Lambert in this one? Le Mans.
Christopher Lambert. So, I'm going to call it Ford v Ferrari if everyone's cool with that. I think it sounds better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, Le Mans is the film with Steve McQueen. And let me open up actually with a Steve McQueen quote. Racing is life. Anything before or after is just waiting. How good is that? From Le Mans. It's a brilliant quote, isn't it? Anyway, so Ford versus Ferrari, the remarkable true story of revolutionary car designer Carroll Shelby and British racing legend Ken Miles. Together, they take on the might of Enzo Ferrari when they construct the Ford GT40 to take on Ferrari's domination in Le Mans 1966. Let's take a look at the trailer.
Look out there. Out there is the perfect lap. You see it?
I think so.
Most people can't.
Carroll Shelby,
Maybe?
Lee Iacocca, Ford Motor. Suppose Henry Ford II wanted to build the greatest race car the world's ever seen to win the 24 hours of Le Mans. What's it take?
Well, it takes something money can't buy.
Money can buy speed.
What in about speed? You need a pure racer behind the wheel of your car. That's Ken Miles.
I don't trust him an inch.
We heard he's difficult.
No, Ken's a puppy dog.
No. Whatever it is, Shell, no.
Trust me.
You're gonna build a car to beat Ferrari with a Ford.
Correct.
And how long did you tell them that you needed? 200, 300 years?
90 days.
This isn't the first time Ford Motors has gone to war. We know how to do more than push paper. Go ahead, Carol. Go to war.
Thank you, sir.
Do you think you can beat Ferrari?
I can try.
We're lighter, we're faster. That don't work, we're nastier. We're gonna make history. You ready?
I was born ready, Mr. Shelby. Hit it.
Okay, so that was a bit of the trailer for Ford versus Ferrari or Le Mans 66. Now, the thrill of high-octane, fast-paced action has gotten our goat going for years as an audience, isn't it?
Definitely.
You know, you got films starting off with films like Grand Prix, going to the Cannonball Run, going to Rush, Days of Thunder. I mean, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, even straight through to say Herbie the Love Bug and I don't know, Lightning McQueen and Disney's Cars.
Yeah.
You know, but what I'm saying is we all love a bit of fast-paced action, don't we? Fast and the Furious, for example. So basically, it's 1963, and Henry Ford II wants to buy Ferrari. He approaches Enzo Ferrari. Enzo says, "Get out of my face," or whatever he might say, because he didn't want to sell the racing division of Ferrari, which is called Scuderia Ferrari. So Henry Ford is not very happy with that. Apparently, Enzo called him fat as well. Fatty Ford. So Fatty Ford is not very happy with that and decides that he's going to do everything in his power to destroy him.
Yeah.
So he enlists Carroll Shelby, the revolution designer who is responsible for, I think, the AC Cobra and the development of the AC Cobra and the Ford Mustang. So, I mean, you say Shelby, you hear that name and you think, awesome. Gone in 60 Seconds, of course.
Yeah.
The Shelby.
Yeah.
There's the link. Anyway, so he enlists Shelby, who then enlists the help of Ken Miles, a racing driver, and together they take on Ferrari. So it's a true story, as we alluded to. I think it looks great, but I love this kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like Steve McQueen's one of my heroes, so I love the original Le Mans, and I know this isn't a remake or anything like that, but it's still of the time period and that kind of thing, and it's still that, like, you can almost smell the fuel in your nostrils with this one, I think, can't you? You know, so I'm excited by it. So I like the fact that it's a true story. I think the plot is really intriguing because I love the Ford GT40. I think it's an absolutely beautiful machine, a work of art. So so I'm right on board with this one. So in terms of the plot, I'm raring to go. I'm at the start line and my engine is revving.
Oof, nice.
You know what I mean? So moving on from the plot, like I say, I think it's great. I'm going to talk about the director, who's James Mangold. Now, he's a pretty well-known director. Yeah. He's got a real good sort of gritty, sort of almost hyper-real style in some places. He's got a very varied career. He's done kind of everything. He's done a superhero movie. He's done a Christmas rom-com. He's done a Western. You know, he's done an Agatha Christie murder mystery. Yeah. Even. So he's kind of done everything, this guy. He's done a mob movie. He did Copland in '97 with Stallone, which was his best performance for a long time, I think. So he's a great director, I think. People might know him most for Logan, the last in the sort of Wolverine films, starring Hugh Jackman, which was fantastic. So he's known for that gritty style. I think it's going to lend itself well to this film, which is, you know, like I said earlier, fast-paced and just full of action and intrigue for me, because I really want to see a bit more about the story between Ford versus Ferrari. So in terms of a score, I'm thinking It's pretty high.
Yeah.
In fact, it's going to go even higher right now because I've just remembered, obviously, I've neglected to say that Mangold he's known for having Oscar winners in his cast. He's known for making films that create Oscar winners, I should say. Girl Interrupted, 1999, Angelina Jolie. And then Walk the Line, the Johnny Cash biopic. So, and again, he's got previous in biopics, in which Reese Witherspoon won for playing June Carter Cash, and Joaquin Phoenix was nominated for playing Johnny Cash, the character. So, a big director, a big story, big action, beautiful machines, including Damon and Bale. And and I think it's a big score, so I'm going to go straight in with an 8. Snowman.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah?
I can't disagree with that.
No? You sure?
Yeah.
It's an 8. Let's move on to the next category, which is what, Gar?
It's poster. Okay, so category 2 is poster and marketing material. Now, other than the trailer, this kind of involves anything that will make you want to go and see the film. So, what's the poster like for Ford versus Ferrari?
Well, I know when you hear Ford v Ferrari, you're probably thinking action, excitement, Gar. Maybe me in my old H-Reg white Ford Fiesta against Magnum PI in his Ferrari 308. It's probably what you're thinking, right?
I am.
So you're probably thinking of a poster that's got all of that going on in you.
Definitely.
This one hasn't really got it.
No.
I like it, but this thing appeals to me anyway, so I'm biased. But what I'll do is I'll discuss the poster kind of, and I'm going to talk about it as the eye travels.
Oh, okay.
Right, so first off, I'll tell you that all the action in this poster happens at the bottom lower third, right? Then at the top, you just got pretty much white space, so it's like a grey, I guess. So the eye travels down, and the first thing you see is the tagline. And the tagline is, they took the American dream for a ride. Now, it's quite evocative, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think that's the tagline just on the US one, and that's the one I've been looking at, because that's the first one I saw.
Okay,
Yeah, so I saw all the material I've seen for it has mostly been Ford v Ferrari.
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue on that road. So you have the tagline. You see, like I said, they took the American dream for a ride, and then the next thing you have underneath that is the 2 lead actors, Matt Damon and Christian Bale. Now, what more do you need to know, really? I mean, and I think it's a bit not confusing or anything like that, but I don't know whether this was a conscious choice of theirs. I don't know. But underneath then you've got Ford versus Ferrari, obviously in the blue, that's most synonymous with Ford, and then the beautiful red of the livery of Ferrari. Yeah. But what it makes me think is with where the names are placed, you've got Damon and Bale over the top of Ford and Ferrari. I think it makes it seem like this is 2 heavyweight actors squaring off against each other.
Yeah.
You know, and it might, and I don't know whether that makes people think, "Ooh, I want to watch that." 2 heavyweights going at it, punch for punch. You know, like in the same way I thought about when you had Heat advertised with, De Niro, Pacino, and I instantly was like, "Whoa, head to head! I want to see them 2 going at it, trading lines and stuff like that." But obviously, in this film, they're collaborating with each other, not against each other. So, but that's just what the poster made me think. It made me think, are they against each other, kind of thing? But obviously, I know they're not. But I wonder whether they wanted people to think that, So I don't know. So you've got the 2 actors, and then the title of the film, obviously, and then underneath that, like I say, you've got the Ford GT40, and then the 2 characters of Ken Miles and Carroll Shelby, played by obviously Christian Bale and Matt Damon. So it's pretty plain fare, really. I like the style of the graphic at the bottom. It's illustrative. It's sort of made to look like it's been hand painted / hand drawn, which is very sort of indicative of that period. A lot of film posters. I mean, some of the original Le Mans artwork for this McQueen film, which I'll probably harp on about quite a bit, shows him with his hand up, and it's very similar like style. Is probably a bit more hand-drawn looking, but it's nostalgic, it's cool, and that's what you need to know from this poster, really, isn't it? About this film. Nostalgic, cool, and 2 big names in it.
I like the poster, I really like the design, but why do you think they've only used the lower third?
I don't know. I haven't got a sort of far-reaching reason for it this week. Usually I'll come up with some sort of cockamamie around the houses explanation that I've thought of. But
Yeah.
when I looked at that one, and like I said, I don't know whether I'm tainted because I'm just thinking that looks cool. Le Mans, cars racing, speed, and that. You know, maybe that's just coloured me in that respect. But I don't know why they've done it like that.
I don't.
But I think it looks cool. So in terms of a score, I've gone with a 6.
Ooh, I thought it was going to be a sexy 7.
No. I mean, it's still plain, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's still not telling us much without reaching for it. And I've been reaching there, haven't I? If I'm talking about, making it look like two actors going head to head, blah, blah, blah. I'm reaching a bit. So I think just above middle of the road, solid 6.
Okay.
What about yours?
So, again, I quite like the design this week.
I do too, yeah.
So, it's the image of Adam Driver, who's the lead of this film, in a calligraph, or calligram, which is a word I found the other day, which is where an image is created where typography is used as the brushstrokes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very nice. That was like an ASMR video.
Yeah,
that
lovely.
Was flowing.
But it's interesting because it kind of, all the words within this calligram are integral to the plot. So you've got stuff like coercive interrogation, you've got fabricated information, you've got the acronym CIA, a lot throughout there. And there's some sentences which have got like the black marker pen redacting the information, making that hidden, which I thought was quite interesting. Now, at the bottom of the poster, you have the something which has been redacted, reports. Now, if you've seen the trailer, you know that word is torture. The torture report. And that stems back to the actual report which was produced on this, which I think was like 6,700 pages or something. So a massive amount of information that was compiled about
Real
this.
page turner.
Yeah, well,
Real page turner.
Yeah. But so I do really like the design. You could say it's kind of plain. It's just Adam Driver, but the way it's been created,
it's cool.
I really like it. So,
do you think there's any little Easter eggs in the text? Do you think there's anything of a giveaway?
I don't think so. I'm not sure who's actually put this together.
Okay.
But I went not line by line, but I tried to read quite a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because I thought you'd ask me that question.
Yeah.
But it's not. I mean, there's a lot of something to the CIA or stuff like that. It gets kind of general terms that you would put to this plot.
Yeah.
But it's interesting. I think we said it previously. You're gonna have some posters which are quite plain and boring some weeks, but I think these two are quite.
I think they're cool.
Yeah. Simplistic but cool.
Yeah. And very different kinds of cool.
Yeah.
You got one that's like that vintage retro cool, and the other one which is just kind of like a monochromatic, like stylistic cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I think it's wicked. And like you say, what was it called? A calligram.
Calligram, yeah.
Calligram.
I had to go to the Oxford English Dictionary website to find that out.
Wow.
There you go. I learned something.
Well, what did you learn about a score?
I went for a 7. I thought you were going to go 7, and I went for a 7.
I'll give you 7. Yeah, I think, but I've gone for a 6 because, I mean, if I was judging it on what I like, I'd probably give it a 7.
Yeah.
But I don't think it deserves it sort of as we're reviewing it, so to speak. I don't think it deserves it on those merits of me being biased.
Okay.
But I think yours does because it's just a simple poster, simple design, but put together in a really cool way with a calligram.
Yeah.
That I now know.
There you go.
And I'll say it all day tomorrow. Right.
Super. There you go. Let's move on.
The next category is going to be the cast and the characters. Right, let's take a look at the cast and characters for these two trailers. Now, in this category, we're looking at the acting talent on display and the characters they play. High scores will be given for award winners, extensive filmographies with loads of variation in them, interesting roles, etc., etc. So, what can you report about the cast in the report?
I've got a very watchable cast and very interesting characters, I think. So we got obviously Adam Driver as the lead, and he plays the US Senate staffer.
Kylo Ren.
Kylo Ren.
He's Kylo Ren.
So he's actually Daniel Jones in this film.
Daniel Jones, he's a Welshman.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Obviously, Kylo Ren, everyone's going to know him as Kylo Ren, but he actually got an Oscar nomination for Black Klansman, which is a fantastic film. I've only seen that recently. I didn't see it when it was out, but really, really good.
Yeah, it's a good film.
He's done Scorsese's Silence,
Yeah, another decent film.
Yeah, it's on for forever, it seems like. But again, a very watchable film that is. So we've also got Annette Bening in the other lead role, and she plays Senator Dianne Feinstein, which I think all of these are real people, to my knowledge. And again, she's a bit of a legend, isn't she? 4-time Oscar nominee, including American Beauty and The Kids Are All Right.
Wow.
Again, any film that she's in, I'm really like, I just want to watch this. She's absolutely fantastic. So she's not showcased as much in the trailer herself, but we all know it's going to be a great role that she plays. And
especially as that kind of character. I mean, what I can see in the trailer, she looks like a sort of a straight-talking, very dictatorial woman.
Yeah.
Female lead.
Yeah.
So, I think
and those two together just seem like, right, we've got to get to the bottom of it. And I think it's going to cause quite a lot of uproar, really, with the Senate going after the CIA, because at that time it's very murky when it was in black and white. A lot of ethical questions. I mean, we just had a big terrorist attack. How do we find out more information? How far can we push these lines? So it is a very turbulent time if we think back.
It was indeed, yeah.
And I can't believe it's so long ago. It just still feels so fresh still in the mind.
Every time, and every year on the anniversary of September the 11th, because that's the attack in question that we're talking about. It never loses that sort of shock and awe, does it?
Yeah.
It never loses it. I mean, everyone remembers where they were, and it never loses it. Yeah, incredible.
Yeah.
So I'm really intrigued, and like you say about the characters on display look really interesting to me, and because they're real or based on real people, like I said, I don't know the ins and outs of it. It really sort of makes me want to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me want to see it. And I love Adam Driver. I think he's brilliant. Have you seen a film called Patterson?
No,
I think it's Patterson. He plays a sort of bus driver. It's a bit of a slow burner. You might like it. He plays a bus driver who writes poetry, and that's kind of it. But it's really good. It's a really good film. I really enjoyed it. Yeah. Bit of a sleeper sort of indie film. Just check it out. So
I'll check that out.
Have a look. I think it's Patterson. Pretty sure it is.
And I think also what I like from this, you've got a really good supporting cast, which are very, very good character actors. Yeah. Kind of led by John Hamm, which has been in loads and loads of different things. Then you got Corey Stoll, got Michael C. Hall, got Tim Blake.
Nelson,
yeah. I mean, all these people.
Brother, where art thou?
Exactly.
Yeah.
These are the types of people where straight away you might think, oh, I recognise the name, but I'm not sure exactly who it is. And then you'll see the image and you think, yes, I know that person from this film. I know this person from that film. And that's what I like. They're people that can play lead roles, but they can also play those supporting roles, but really, really dedicate their time to them. They're not going to dial it in. They're not just going to come for the paycheck. They're going to go, right, I might have 15 lines in this film, but I'm going to give it my all.
Because you'll get that with this type of film, won't you? You'll get a lot of, because it's a sort of a political, I don't know what the word is, saga almost. You'll get these characters flitting in and out. You'll get one scene where you might have a secret meeting with someone and blah blah blah, and it's like some revelation, but you need someone with weight, with gravitas to deliver like just a few lines, like you say, and you'll have that sort of interaction over multiple different set pieces and scenes, won't you? Of all these different actors coming in and out, and all these different real people that they'll be playing. Especially in a government-based sort of thing where there's just a role for everything, isn't there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So
in terms of the score, I couldn't make up my mind whether to go for a 7 or an 8 on this. So I put 7.5, and I would defer to you.
I would have gone with a 7.
7,
I think.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, and I love the cast. I think, like I said, I love Adam Driver. I am a Star Wars dork, and I really like him as Kylo Ren. I think he's brought something a real nuance to the villain role within the Star Wars sort of arena. A lot of people are going to disagree with me on that one. Write it in the comments. Most people do disagree with me, so that's fine. But Annette Bening, I love. I think my favourite film that she's in, I love American Beauty, but Open Range. Have you ever seen Open Range?
Yeah.
Kevin Costner. She's in that, isn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's brilliant in that.
Yeah.
And she looks pretty hot in that as well.
Yeah.
I think, as I remember rightly. Like a mix of, what's Doc's wife's name in there? Clara.
Clara,
like a mix of, like a bit of a sexier Clara, almost, from Back to the Future. So,
there you go.
So yeah, a 7, I would say.
Okay, I think, if I would have got an Oscar winner, maybe I could have bumped it up there. Yeah. Right, what have you got?
Right, so I've got some heavy hitters, and I'll concentrate on the main two. You've got, excuse me, Christian Bale. I mean,
Okay.
what can we say about Christian Bale? I mean, is he one of the best ever?
Yes, I think he is.
I think he is. He's apparently one of the most awkward ever.
Yeah.
As well, but I think that comes with the territory, doesn't it? You've got to be an intense kind of guy to play some of the roles as effectively as he has.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at...
Sorry, I was going to say something.
Oh, go on.
We're done. We're done professionally. I'm out. You'll never work in this town again.
Gaz is referring to his famous Christian Bale's famous outburst. I think it's on YouTube, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
Have a look. It's interesting viewing. But he's known for his dedication to his roles, particularly in the lengths he goes to sort of gain weight, lose weight. You know what he does to become the characters that he played. I mean, for this role as Ken, he plays Ken Miles, who's a British-born racing driver, a war veteran who moves into race driving in the years after the war, and he lost a lot of weight for this role.
From Vice, wasn't it?
From Vice, yeah, playing Dick Cheney in Vice last year in that sort of that biopic of, again, an American government sort of saga, and he's fantastic. I love Christian Bale. He got his breakout role as Patrick Bateman. I'd say that was his breakout. I remember him from years ago. Patrick Bateman in American Psycho. Yeah. I remember him years ago from Spielberg's Empire of the Sun.
Yeah.
A great film. Should have won more awards, but I think it lost out a lot to The Last Emperor or whatever in 1987, I think it was. So around about that time. So he's Batman. He is the best Batman ever. Would you say?
Yeah, one of the best.
But can I be controversial?
Go on.
I think Pattinson is going to eclipse him.
Ooh.
I'm going to say it now. I think Robert Pattinson, just to divert a little bit, is going to be the best Batman we've seen.
I will say he's the best. He may be the best Bruce Wayne, but not the best Batman. I'm not sure exactly, because it sounds like he's going to be a lot of like the detective Batman. So I'm not sure how much action there's going to be. I mean, he's a young lad, so you assume there'll be a fair amount in there. And there's been a lot of news recently about a lot of casting. So I am intrigued about that film.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going on record. I'm saying best Batman ever.
He says this a lot though, because once in a blue moon he'll get one right and go, "I told you." Olivia Colman.
Yeah. So going back to Bale, so we diverted quite a bit there, haven't we? So going back to Bale, he's in so many films that it's not even worth me reeling them all off, is it? He's in a lot of the films.
Yeah.
He's in The Prestige, The Fighter.
Yeah. Oscar winner for that.
Yeah. The Machinist.
Yeah.
I mean, he's as decorated as they come, isn't he? And he's as good as they come. And next to him is another person who's as good as they come, and another Oscar winner, Matt Damon.
Yeah, very good.
My apparent doppelganger, according to Gazety. I don't see it myself, but he was voted best looking man in the world ever or something at one point. So
I changed my mind then.
I'll cling to that somehow with my bum fluff beard. But yeah, Matt Damon. He won an Oscar for the screenplay for Good Will Hunting alongside Ben Affleck. Yeah. An incredible film, Good Will Hunting. I think I could watch that all the time. Yeah. It doesn't ever get old. Saving Private Ryan. He's in the Oceans franchise. He's in one of your favourites, Interstellar.
Yeah. Continuing
the space theme, he's in The Martian. I mean, is there anything he can't do, really, Matt Damon?
No, the Bourne legacy
well,
films.
They changed the action film genre. Completely changed it. I mean, if you look at Bond films, for example, post The Bourne Identity, and you'll see the influence right there.
Yeah. Right there.
I mean, incredible.
It always seems to be James Bond films were the kind of yardstick, and then the Bourne films came along, and now the Bond films are trying to catch up to them.
Oh yeah, always.
Even now, obviously that series is finished now, the Bourne franchise, but the Bond films are just still trying to get to that place where you just pushed action films. Unbelievable.
Oh, incredible. And the style of cinematography and whatnot in them, where they shifted away from, like, the Bond style was very big set pieces, explosions. They shifted to close in action, lots of fast cuts, handheld camera work, right in there. Hitting people with cups and rolling up papers and smacking them across the bonds with it. So in terms of supporting cast, we've got some good names in there. I'm not going to sort of go into too much detail with them, because Ford v Ferrari, let's face it, is about Bale and Damon from the trailer anyway, and you do get the supporting cast coming in, but I'll talk about those people that we see. So we've got, forgive me for my pronunciation if it's not correct, Catriona Balfe or Balfe.
Don't
know. Some of our Celtic brothers and sisters over in Ireland might chew me out for that one, but I tried my best. But so we know her from Outlander. She's on the rise. Really good actress, I think, and very attractive. So looking forward to seeing her as Molly Miles, the wife of Christian Bale's Ken Miles character. We've also got John Bernthal, who's the Punisher in Netflix Marvel adaptation. I saw him first in The Pacific.
Yeah, it's good.
Which I love The Pacific. The sort of follow on in the Band of Brothers kind of, what would you say? It's part of the same series almost, isn't it? But it's the Pacific Theatre rather than the European one. But well worth a watch. Go and watch The Pacific if you've not seen it. Then we've got Josh Lucas, is in it. Not seen him being in much for a long time.
Yeah.
I saw around about the early sort of 2000s, he was in Stealth and a couple of action films, and I thought, good looking guy. I think he's going to be I thought he was going to be a bigger sort of star than he is. I don't want to be detrimental to him or anything like that. I don't mean it like that, but I just thought he was going to be, he reminded me of a sort of a Matthew McConaughey kind of like looks wise.
Yeah.
Sort of like, Californian looking hand-tan dude. I thought he was going to be a bigger star than he is really. And we've got Noah Jupe.
Oh, unbelievable.
The young lad from A Quiet Place. Cracking little actor.
And Suburbicon,
of course.
Really good.
He's good, isn't he?
Really good, yeah.
He's really, really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing him. He plays, I think it's Peter Miles, I think. Peter Miles, who is the son. And some lovely scenes in the trailer. Like the trailer opens up with Christian Bale's character and him sat on the racetrack, and really nice, shot really nicely, and I love a father-son scene. I eat him up now. Since I've been a dad, I eat him up. So yeah, I'm pretty impressed with the cast.
Good.
I'm pretty impressed with it. I'd say it's a good, in terms of a score, I'd give it a solid 8.
Solid 8. Solid 8.
Solid. Solid 8.
Solid 8.
Solid 8. Yeah. A solid 8. Gazadi, what you got?
Yeah, I got to agree. It's one of those where you get, if we were dealing in 0.5, it'd be an 8.5. I think if there was just one more, like if, I don't know, on the Ferrari side, if they had a famous person doing the main driver there.
Yeah.
But no, I agree. It can't be any less than an 8. I agree.
And maybe it's going to be a case of the car's the star as well, because I've forgotten that very important cast member, the Ford GT40 and the various Ferraris that are going to be on the show. I mean,
250 GTO.
250 GTO rolled off.
The latest one was sold for nearly £50 million. There's only 33 left.
Oh God!
And Chris Evans, not the actor, the DJ has got one.
DJ Chris Evans
bought one for 12.5 a couple of years ago. So absolute steal. 12.5 million. Absolute steal.
Yeah, isn't it? God. Anyway, so shall we move on to the next category?
Yeah, let's do it.
Which is
one of our favourites, cinematography. Right, the cinematography, and this is really the category where we discuss the look and feel of the film, and if shot well, it can really elevate a movie.
Yeah, for sure. We're only going on the trailer though.
Of course, yeah.
So let's look at the cinematography for the trailer for Ford v Ferrari. Well, obviously we got, like I said, James Mangold at the helm, and he is supported in the lens department by his longtime collaborator, and again, I'm having a nightmare for pronunciations this evening, but it's Feden Papa Michael.
Aha! Oh, sorry, it was Papa Alpha. The Alan Partridge. Sorry, carry on.
I'll try. I don't know how I'm going to follow that. So Feden Papa Michael, now he's a veteran of the game. If you look at his IMDb, he's done loads of stuff. Yeah. And has been going for sort of, 20 or 30 years near enough now. So he's done things like Patch Adams, he did The Descendants, The Ides of March, he did This Is 40, Sideways, a really good comedy. If you've not seen it, check it out. But the thing that stood out for me the most, that I enjoyed the most anyway, was the fact that he was director of photography on Cool Runnings.
Oh, yeah.
The classic story of the Jamaican bobsleigh team.
Really
Check it
good.
out. If you haven't seen it, it's ace. Isn't it?
It's so good.
Good Sunday film.
Really good.
Yeah, check it out. So going back to that sort of the style of the trailer, looking at it, you've got that real sort of sun-drenched look, haven't you? You've got the sort of what looks like the Californian skylines and the sort of orange and sort of golden hues of the deserts and like looks like some scenes of flats racing and all that kind of stuff. Looks really good. You've got that nice shot, like I alluded to earlier, of the opening of the trailer, where you've got the Ken Miles character getting out of the Ford GT40 on the racetrack with his son, and sort of sundown, and it looks amazing.
Yeah.
So I think, I'm expecting some fantastic cinematography here, and what we can see in the trailer, you're getting that fast-paced action as well. I'm thinking a lot of low angles to really emphasize that speed as you get, a lot of passing shots and all that kind of stuff. So I think it looks really good. It doesn't look anything new in terms of the racing action, I mean now.
Yeah.
But how much further can you take that anyway? You know what I mean? If we had all drones and all that kind of stuff going on, then we just think it didn't look right anyway. So I like the look of the action on this. I do think in some ways the actual photography looks too good.
Ooh.
But I don't know if that's just because when I look at this film, it does make me hark back to like Le Mans and all these and all Cannonball Runs and all those kind of things. And I'm thinking, give me a bit of grain.
Right,
I want a bit of grain.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just so perfect and so, probably shot like 8K or something like that. But it's just so perfect looking that I like a bit of imperfection on these films. And I think if it had a bit of grain and a bit of an older look, it would seem even faster.
Right,
so,
okay.
I don't know, but I'm expecting a real mix of from looking at the trailer, I think there's going to be a real mix of practical, real effects and then, CGI effects. And I know that Mangold himself is kind of, and I'm going to paraphrase what his thoughts on visual effects are here. He said he goes along the lines of saying, since the sort of advent of computer animation, there's been a lot of sort of look at me kind of cinematography where you've got cameras flying through keyholes and going up and around and flying all over the place. And he sort of says that when people watch his film, he doesn't want them to think of him and what he's doing. He wants them to get lost in the film. Yes, there'll be VFX and things like that, but he wants the audience to get lost in the film and then afterwards maybe think about, have they done that?
Yeah.
Rather than it be in your face. So I'm thinking that this will be like some of his other films, subtle VFX and done really well. And I think I'm looking forward to seeing how they recreate the Le Mans atmosphere in '66. I'm looking forward to seeing all that, the crowd simulation and things like that. So that again, they'll mix practical with VFX there. So, I'm excited by it. I think the cinematography looks really, really good in this film. And I think in terms of a score, I'm probably going to give it I'm going to go with a 7.
Right, okay.
I'm going to give it a 7. And the reason I'm going to give it a 7 is because it does look really good and I think it's going to look great. I think it's going to be shot fantastically well. But it isn't anything new.
Okay.
But it doesn't need to be. So I think that's why it just needs to be a fair 7.
Yeah, okay. So just one thing before we move on is, and I don't know if I was reading too much into this, but there's 2 shots in the trailer that looks kind of harking back to the 60s style and the way stuff was shot at that time.
Okay.
Now, there's one shot where Matt Damon's character is in the garage and he emerges, but when the car pulls up, the doorway kind of brings it in, so it's the aspect ratio, and this is a little bit nerdy, but it's like a 1:3.7 kind of back. Yeah. And then also, when he sat in the reception of the Ford Motor Company, the way that shot is really dark on the edges, and I think that also gives...
Yeah, it does give you that
the effect, but I don't know if that's intentional or not.
Some vintage framing.
Yeah.
And it probably is intentional, because if it's not intentional, it probably looks untidy.
Yeah.
So I think it probably is to almost push to that sort of 4:3 looking aspect.
Yeah, kind of a nod
yeah.
back to the... But anyway,
maybe.
Nice,
Maybe. What a dork, eh?
I know, yeah.
So, Gar, talk to me about the cinematography for the report.
So, you had trouble with your cinematographer's name, and I'm probably going to butcher this, but I believe the gentleman's name is Egil Brild.
Couldn't tell you otherwise, but sounded like a solid effort.
So he most recently shot Ocean's 8,
Yeah.
kind of the reboot of the Ocean's franchise, and In Bruges, which has got quite a stylistic way of shooting. But I think for this, he shot a lot with Fincher on House of Cards, and it seems like he's bringing a lot of that. So shallow depth of focus, using quite naturalistic lighting.
Yeah.
And you can kind of see that Fincher has rubbed off on him.
Definitely, yeah.
And it works very, very well for this trailer.
Yeah.
Now, I assume we're going to see... it's not going to be a visual effects driven film, but you're going to see a lot of kind of the overlays of the redacted information from the trailer, that kind of thing. And the set pieces I really like in the way that they've blocked out some of the actors. I mean, you mentioned something that you noted.
Yeah, when the scene where Adam Driver's character is talking to the other chap and they're on about paper getting people in trouble or whatever, it looked really Western to me, like almost like a standoff, like in the sort of Good, the Bad, the Ugly vein, you know, that classic hip angle, hip perspective, looking out at the other gunslinger as he stands across, ready to fire. And it sort of seemed like, I mean, there's obviously tension in that scene as well, so I'm wondering if when we see the film in its entirety, if that scene is full of tension and is a bit of a gunsling back and forth.
I think it is. These two people are on the opposite ends of the spectrum. It's almost like the Adam Driver's character, he is accusing the CIA of all of these bad things, and the guy's like, no, we're not going to give you any help. Paper, gets us in trouble, so we are adversaries in this scenario. So, I think it seems like it's well shot. Like I say, you're not going to get massive explosions and crashes like your film, but it's going to showcase the acting talent, and the acting talent is fantastic. So that's what I've got from that.
I think it had an interesting grade as well for me. Like you said, if you work with Fincher, and it looked a bit Mindhunter-y.
Yeah.
That kind of, there's a lot of greys, a lot of blues in there, and like you said, a lot of interior, natural sort of lighting going on. And I think, and it seemed to me that it was very shady, which is kind of the vibe of the film, isn't it? It's a very shady film, this. And it's sort of, there seem to be a lot of dark corners and things like that to me. So I think, is that indicative of the theme of the film, you know? That it is there's a lot of dark corners within this, and there's a lot of things that they don't want you to see.
Yeah, that's it. But in some respects, I found the grade to be kind of all over the shop a little bit. So you start off with a very yellow grade over the characters, and I don't know if it was kind of harking back because it kind of showed footage from 9/11, so I don't know if it was kind of representing a period in time before the actual events had taken place. But then, so it was like a lot of yellow cast, and then it was like your greys and your blues. So it seemed to me a little bit all over.
I think it just seemed like different interior light conditions to me. I don't know. I didn't.
I wasn't sure.
I didn't notice that.
Yeah, well, the first two scenes had the same grade over it, and they was wildly different.
Oh, okay.
Scenario. So I don't know.
I have to look at it again.
Yeah, I don't know if normally you kind of even out for the trailer, but I'm not too sure. But in terms of a score, I've gone for a 7. I think it's going to look good and it's going to be enjoyable.
I think that's a fair score.
Okay, brilliant.
Let's move on to the next category, which is going to be the sound and the music. Okay, so the sound and music category. So in this category, we're going to look at the overall sonic landscape of the trailers. Sorry?
The Hedgehog.
The Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog. So we're going to look at the overall sonic landscape of the trailer. So that includes the score, if there's any, what music might be in there, sort of sound effects, just like I say, the overall feel for the trailer in terms of its audio.
And normally we can talk a lot about this.
Yeah.
But not today.
Not today, suckers.
So for the report,
yeah,
the composer for the film is a chap called David Wingo, and recently his most recent project is Kidding, which is a TV series with Jim Carrey in it. However, based solely on the trailer, it's all incidental music.
Again.
So
again.
Yeah, it's not for my ears, there was no original music in there. It seems to be a lot of stabbing cellos or bass towards the end, and then as the tension rises, it goes into the higher strings in the violins, and that's really all I can say about it. In terms of sound design, it sounds like it's been recorded well. I think the interrogation scenes will be hard to watch if put together well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give it a low score, not because what I heard I didn't like, it's because there's not much there for me to score.
Yeah, it's a bit of a cool story, bro.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
I was going to give it a 3,
Yeah.
but because there was a voiceover, and I think a voiceover is underrated and you don't see it much, so I bumped it up to a 4.
Yeah.
But there you go, I got nothing else to say.
That's fair, I guess. You know, like I say, it is what it is, isn't it, really? I mean, I don't know what you're expecting in terms of sound from a film like that. You know? And to be honest, it's the same for, well, not the same for mine, because there is a lot of sound design in this trailer, and there will be in the film.
Yeah.
But in terms of a score, as in the soundtrack score, this kind of film doesn't lend itself to any sort of sweeping epic music or anything like that, does it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think when you look at the sound for Ford versus Ferrari, I'll talk about the composer. He's a guy called Marco Beltrami, and he's prolific now. I mean, when again look at his IMDb and his background, prolific. This guy, he does so much work per year. It's unbelievable. He started off sort of. He was almost like the go-to for like your teen slashers, like the Scream franchise and the Faculty and that kind of stuff. But he's done a load of different kind of things. He's done The Hurt Locker. He did A Quiet Place. Die Hard 4. Yeah. But I mean, again, A Quiet Place not really known for its music.
It's music, but
it's known for its sound design.
Yeah, which is unbelievable.
Incredible. I mean, one of the best experiences I've had in the cinema, I think.
Yeah.
But you know, without digressing, so again, echoing what Gaz said, in terms of music, from a score perspective, there's not really anything in this trailer. It begins with a kind of underlying sustained drone note until the action sort of kicks up later on with the car noise and all, and that's good stuff.
Yeah,
you know, the engine, that's what you want to hear in this film. You don't want to hear music over the top of the sound of the bellowing Ford GT40 exhaust note, do you? You want to hear that. So that's what I'm saying. This film doesn't lend itself to a soundtrack, in a score in that respect, I don't think.
No.
I think it's all about the sound of the fast cars, the racing, the crowds, all that kind of stuff. So I think we'll get loads of that, and I think it'll be really, really good. And I think it'll be one to watch in the cinema, because, you know, growing up loving the sound of these cars, I'd like to hear it booming at me in surround sound. I would love that. So I'm looking forward to seeing this one in the cinema. We have the Rolling Stones, Gimme Shelter, appears in it sort of 2/3 of the way through, and sort of sees the trailer out, which adds, like you say, it adds a bit of pace to it. It's a cool tune, and again, kind of going back to that time period and that area, like good old-fashioned, a bit of rock and roll music. You know, I'm not a fan of the Rolling Stones. I find them a bit overrated, if I'm honest. And this, I think, Gimme Shelter were used in The Departed as well, which is another Matt Damon film. So I don't know whether, you know, they should have gone with something different, but I don't know. It seems to be used quite a lot in stuff, doesn't it, really? But
inspiration from the Vietnam War as well. It was in '69 it was released, so around that time, but it's a bit of an odd one for me, really. I see what they're trying to do back to that era.
Yeah.
I should have went for, which was released in '66.
Go on.
Wilson Pickett, Mustang Sally.
Mustang Sally. They could have gone with that, couldn't
Should
they?
have. Get me on board.
Man gold. This man is gold. Come on, deal with it. But yeah, so I mean, it's a good track. But I say I'm not a huge fan of the Rolling Stones as such. So mixed with that, you get the incidental sound, the normal stuff. But and you get a lot of plot driving narrative going through it. You know, a lot of dialogue between characters and some good key lines in there as well. So and there's a bit of comedy.
Yeah. In
terms of near the end of the trailer, where you've got Henry Ford having a sort of test drive with Matt Damon's character, and then he starts crying and stuff.
I genuinely thought he was having a heart attack, that chap. Such a good acting little scene.
But I can't tell if he's crying from tears of joy that his car's awesome, or that he's scared witless and has just
wet himself.
Wet himself. Yeah. So I think I think there's going to be great sound design in this film. I don't think there's going to be much in terms of score. I don't think there needs to be.
Yeah.
So with that in mind, I'm going to go in terms of a score. I'm going to give it a 6.
Okay, fair.
And that's just because a lot of people might not like car exhausts blasting into their eardrums, at crazy decibels. But I'm going to love that. But I've got to be fair, so I'm sticking with a 6.
Okay.
Move us on.
To the last category.
The last category.
Which is Superhero-Ness. Okay, to close the show, we're looking at Superhero-Ness. And this is really a little bit of fun where we try and find some tenuous links to superheroes. And this, really, you get your points for prominence of the character. So if you've got Batman, the best Batman, you might get some good points.
Best Batman so far.
The amount of characters that are from comic books, and also if there's any DC, Marvel crossover type thing. So what have you got for me?
He's pretty good at this one. He likes digging on this one, don't you, bud?
I do.
I know you enjoy this
So
one.
we'll see.
So, all right, what have I got for you? I hear you cry. I've only got, like you just said, the Batman. The Batman.
So
Worth
1 point
2
for
points.
Batman, you get a bonus point because he's such an integral
Good
character.
Batman. Yeah, he's Batman.
Yeah.
He's brilliant.
Yeah.
He's the best Batman so far.
You got a bonus point.
So I've also got the Punisher, John Bernthal.
The Punisher.
Boom. Because I would have been off the bat like just 9. Do you know what I mean?
We'll
Just from looking
'Cause
at
of
the
Batman,
gravitas of it. Batman's worth like 8 points.
No.
No.
2. 1 and a bonus point.
God,
One more for Punisher. You got 3.
Hard superhero taskmaster.
These are the rules.
Rules is rules, yeah. So I got the Punisher. I also got obviously James Mangold has directed the Wolverine and Logan. 2 very strong superhero films. Because I mean, Logan's like it's a different kind of superhero film, isn't it? Really, but yeah, I think solid points for that.
Yeah.
I've also got Josh Lucas is in the Hulk.
Yeah.
So I think that's another good point.
Yeah.
And then JJ, now in the supporting cast, not mentioned this young gentleman thus far. JJ Field is plays James Montgomery Falsworth in the Captain America films. So another solid point. So what you got? 7.
7.
I'll take a 7. I'm happy with a 7. Now, have you got any sneakers for me? Because I know you love it. So go on, hit
Do you
me
know
with
what? Matt Damon, you think Matt Damon's not been in any superhero films.
No,
He's
not
been
really.
in 2.
Go on.
So in Deadpool 2, there is a very short scene where Cable comes back and there's 2 rednecks talking to each other. One of them is Matt Damon. But if you look in the credits, cheekily, his name is Dickie Greenleaf, which was his character's name in The Talented Mr. Ripley.
I might stop calling you Dickie Greenleaf.
Oh, man.
You look like a Dickie Greenleaf.
I'd love that.
Okay. So
but he's also in, So he's also in Thor Ragnarok. Now, this is where Loki has taken over the kingdom. He's pretending to be his father, Sir Anthony Hopkins, Odin, and he's putting on this play for the crowd where Chris Hemsworth brothers playing Thor and Sam Neill's in it as Odin and also Matt Damon as Loki.
Decent. And a great spot, Gazzy.
So there you go.
Gotta give him credit. That was a good one, that. So I'll take that point.
Yeah, I've got 9. Yeah, I've got 9.
See? Told you. Straight up. I got it without any logic, though.
This must be
You
9.
just
I got
applied
Batman.
logic to it. Yes. So a rock solid 9. What about you then?
So I was straight away, I was like, I got nothing to worry about. I got Kylo Ren. I got
He's not a
Kylo Ren.
superhero,
Yeah, and I was like, oh no, he's not a superhero.
He's not a superhero.
And he's not done any superhero films.
Nope.
John Hamm, fantastic character actor. No superheroes. So at the moment,
Nothing, mate.
I got Annette Bening, who was actually in the Captain Marvel films, played the Supreme Intelligence.
Yeah, she did, yeah.
And we've got Corey Stoll, who was in the first Ant-Man. He was the Yellow Jacket. He was the kind of the main adversary.
Half a point.
So I got 2 there. What do you mean half a point? I've got Batman. I've got Batman. So in one animated episode of, I think it was Gods and Monsters, Michael C. Hall played Batman. He was the voice of Batman.
In an anime. The voice of Batman doesn't quite count.
What do you mean?
He's not Batman, is he?
he played
He's the
Batman.
the
If you look at
voice
his
of Batman.
filmography, he's Batman.
The voice of Batman.
Yeah, so I got
I'll give
got
you
one
a
of
3.
them.
I got 9. So I mean, I give you 6 if you want it. Whatever. I've got points to play with, pal. So
I'm on 3 so far.
3.
And then Tim Blake Nelson played Sam Stones in The Incredible Hulk. That was one with Eric Bana in. It's kind of been forgotten in the pantheon of...
I really like it though. I like Banner though. I think he's awesome.
Yeah, in my opinion, it was better than the
Norton ones.
The Norton ones, yeah. Although that is in the MCU.
Who's your favourite Eric Bana character? I like him in Munich.
Yeah, he's really good.
My favourite is Hector. Hector. That's Brad Pitt. For anyone who didn't know, shouting Hector up at the walls of Troy, waiting.
He's actually really good in the. I can't remember what the name escapes me, in the Ricky Gervais comedy. Oh my gosh!
Tell us what it is in the comments, because none of us are going to remember this right now, and it's going to drive us mad.
But he plays a really
the journalists.
Yeah.
Oh
my
I
gosh,
can't remember what it's called, and I love Ricky Gervais. Sorry, Ricky.
So 4.
So in terms of a score, you got 4.
I got 4.
4, a paltry 4. So let's move on then to the final reckoning. Here we go. The categories have been critiqued. It's now time for the final reckoning. And as is customary, I shall reach to my left and pull out Indiana Jones's famed fedora, our vessel of choice for our magical balls. Gazza, are you ready for this?
Yeah.
Please draw the first category.
So remember, it's just 3 categories.
Just
it's
3.
only those points that count. Here we go.
It's all to play for. Don't look.
On 4. Ooh, category 1.
So that's plot and director. So an early lead for me. 8 plays 7. Gazza, please draw the second ball.
There we go. Oh, here we go. Ooh,
Category 2, the
category
poster.
2.
So it's all squares and all evens. A 6 for me and a 7 for Gaz.
It's a real barn burner.
This is it, the decider. Come on, category 6.
I want it to be... Oh.
Now, just to remind Gaz, it's so far 2-0 in the series. I've won both episode 1 and 2. So, just letting you know.
If I recall, I don't think I can win. From the scores, I don't think I can win. Anyway, it's category 4.
Is that Sound of Music?
No, cinematography.
Cinematography.
Which was 7-all.
So there you go.
So it's a draw. Nice one.
draw?
Come back next week.
It's a draw.
It's a draw.
It's a draw. It's a tie. Shall we have a tiebreaker category? Of
course we
Got it, haven't we? You can't win now, can you?
No.
We'll
3-0.
definitely have a tiebreaker category. Hat trick for Davis.
I almost want it to be 6 so I get absolutely annihilated. But it's not.
It's 5.
It's number 5. So I lose by 2 points.
It's not a bad result, mate. Is it? What do you
Well,
think?
it is. Of course, I lost. So
there you have it. He lost. Well, he didn't lose. The report lost. And I think to be fair, on balance, in terms of what to see in the cinema, it's pretty easy. A pretty easy victory for Ford versus Ferrari. This, isn't it? Because as a film that you'll get a cinematic experience from, I'd say it's probably streets ahead of the report.
yeah, I think so.
You know.
Not to say the report's not going to be a bad film.
I think it's going to be great.
Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to both of these films, to be honest. But if I was going to choose one to see in the cinema, it would be Ford versus Ferrari for me. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah?
I'm really looking forward to both of these films.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely.
And if you would like to see both of these films, don't forget, all you've got to do is like the videos and subscribe to the channel for the chance to win a year's cinema membership. And you can just go and watch both of them.
Simple as.
Anytime you want. Well, not anytime, while they're out. You can't watch them in like next May or anything like that. But, you know, a year's free cinema tickets. That's a pretty good prize, right?
Unbelievable. And we've had a lot of entries so far.
Yeah.
So
keep them rolling in.
If you want to be in to win it, just subscribe.
Keep
like
them rolling
and share.
in. And you can find out more about me and Gaz if you want to go to our website, which is www.thedavislocker.com. And we are across social media on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter. on @TheDavisLocker.
There you go.
So get at it.
Thanks again for joining us for the third Trailer Top Trumps.
We shall see you next time.
See ya. Good episode, that.
Good episode.
Really good episode.
Are we going to give this away?
With those stinky shoes, I don't think so. Tell you what, though.
Go on.
Ford and Ferrari looks really good, really good.
Does
And
it
I
really
think
good? Just one?
Yeah, and it's probably going to be Christian Bale's best role since Batman, I think. And that reminds me, do you know what the Caped Crusader's favourite Chinese meal is?
Go on.
Kung Pao chicken.
Oh my God. I wish you would have knocked me out then and I would have had to hear that joke.